Scrabble has been one of the world's most popular board games for over 75 years, and now there's a new version. It has a simpler scoring system and allows players to compete in teams. We discuss the changes and the game's enduring appeal with Ross Mackenzie from the Scottish Scrabble Association. Ross, thanks so much for joining us. What do you make of this new version of Scrabble?
It's an interesting development. I think Mattel are realising that people have always played Scrabble not to the box lid rules, the official ones, so to speak, but in their homes among their families, quite often play collaboratively, and try and get words together. So I think they're just recognising this with this new version of the game.
So how's it different from the classic game?
So the classic game tends to be one-on-one and it's adversarial. At the end of each game you'll have a winner and you'll have a loser, and the games can take quite a long time to play through. I think the new version that they're proposing with the new board means it'll take a little bit less time, so people don't feel they're committing a whole evening to it, and also it means that you can play in teams and collaboratively, so that maybe at the end of it everyone's winning as opposed to just one winner and someone going home sort of losing.
Is it not all about the competition though?
I think a lot of people play it for the competition. But a lot of people, when they turn up to the Scrabble clubs and tournaments around the country, I think they do feel quite intimidated by the weird and wonderful words that are on the board. They're looking at all these people that have been playing for years or decades, and sometimes they've played or they've done lots of studying and sort of played online thousands of games, and that is quite off-putting. So I think encouraging people to play in their own way with this alternative version of the rules is very encouraging. And
do you think it will encourage more people to get into the game then? Kids perhaps as well?
It certainly won't do any harm. I think people, when they see the rules and they think we need to play with these rules, it ignores the fact that people have always had their own house rules for it, and I say when parents are playing with their children, teaching them spelling and counting and things like that, then they've always ignored the rules to some extent. Here's another way that you can play the game that is maybe more participatory and collaborative.
Yeah, because it's all about learning new words and letters and everything, so that can only be good for kids, can't it?
I think so, yes, and if it encourages them to take an interest in language and things like that, then yes, it might mean that they develop that sense of wanting to find out more, play a bit more, and if they then want to switch to the version that is more sort of adversarial and competitive, they can do so, but they can keep playing for fun if they want to.
Now, Scrabble, you were saying to me earlier, it's now 75 years old, the game. I mean, what's its enduring appeal? I mean, clearly you're passionate about it.
I think it's a very simple game when you get down to it. It's a board, you've got letter tiles, and there's 250,000 words in the dictionary. So you're never going to get two games that are the same. You can play in different ways. You're going to get different strategies happening in various games. So I think the fact that people will play it, and there's a thriving Scrabble community as well, that people will join, they'll go to tournaments, they'll make friends there, and people will often start off playing as many games as they can, and then over time they make friends, and the social side comes out more for people too.
And so how did you get into it?
Mattel ran a school Scrabble promotion in the 1990s that I played a part in, and there was regional heats in a London final that I was in, and then after a few years I sort of came back to it, discovering a local club where I was working at the time, and then I discovered this whole network of clubs all across the country and regular tournaments that you can go to, and as I say, the people that you meet there are fantastic. It spans all ages and all demographics, so it's a great community to be a part of.
And I mean, some of you play competitively. I mean, can they be quite cutthroat, the world of competitive Scrabble? There's a book in here somewhere, isn't there?
A lot of people take it very seriously. As I say, they can spend hours and hours learning words, and quite often people will, you ask them how their day has gone at a tournament, and it all comes down to number of wins and losses. But I think a lot of people will they go along to have a much nicer time about it, and they can take it seriously to an extent when they're playing, but they're not going to fall out over it. So yes, people are very passionate about certain things, and there are some people in the community that are looking at the new board and the new rules and saying, well, this isn't Scrabble as we know it. But that's okay, because the old rules and the old board is staying, so people can continue to play the way they've always played, but here's a new alternative way that people can play if they don't want to be in that kind of winner-loser situation in it.
Right, so there's purists around. Yes. So what's the best word or the biggest word count you've ever got? I think a lot of people can tell you straight away when it was, what they did with it, who they were playing. I think mine was beltways, which is an alternative word for a ring road. And it was across 2 triple words, so you get 194 points for that, and it was a nice moment as well playing that. Was it a euphoric moment, was it?
It was, yes. It rescued me out of a difficult position. So I remember that game winning against someone who was higher rated than me at the time. So it was very satisfying. But I think that's a nice thing about playing for so long. You just get so many different games, and it's nice to remember these little moments where you feel that you've done well and you can be pleased about it.
I think my best word was cat or something, but we'll go into that. Just to finish, word games are very popular nowadays, aren't they? Wordle, Quordle, and I think there's other ones as well. What's the appeal, do you think? Why are people so into it at the moment?
I think people want a bit of escapism because they see sort of some of the more difficult stories on the news, and they want to escape from the bustle of everyday life. So it's a nice, simple, escapist bit of fun that they can go, and it's a very level playing field. Lots of people are good with words and anagrams, and Wordle in particular is something where everyone's playing the same game every day. So there's that shared experience where you can check in with people and say, I got it in 4, I got it in 5. Brilliant. And it's just that kind of enduring quality where people can bond over it.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for coming on the programme. I'd challenge you to a game, but I don't think I stand a chance. Ross, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.